allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic which stands one nation, indivisible. All right, roll call, please.
Mr. Volria,
Here.
Mr. Blandon,
Here. All right, we will go to. One to the financial budget. For the general fund,
125.
correct?
That's for,
And I'll refer to administration.
yeah. Thank you. This is not the budget. This is a forecast. And it's we're the only county in the state of Ohio that has to do it in the 6 months or halfway. It's kind of a forecast to see what money, the levies in the future. So this report goes all the way up to 2029. It has each of the township fund, the general fund, and I have to include, if the levies pass, I include that money in here. So it kind of shows you, where we're looking. So if the fire levy, the police levy passes the general fund, it really helps the general fund that we wouldn't have to put a levy on in 2 years for the general fund, or so on. So it really, I know Jim said this is my favorite report because I can see what's going to happen in 4 or 5 years. Then I can tell the trustees, in 2028, the police levy, we need to increase. We knew a couple years ago with fire levy, with the increases of salaries and everything and the cost of everything that we said, you will have to put an addition on fire. So if you guys have any questions, and I know we're going to have some open meetings. We already have them scheduled for the levies, but anytime you guys have questions or you can email me, you can tweet me. I had never had a problem doing that. So I just have to have this in this week to the county. We did tweets last week.
Do we need to approve the fire?
Yes.
In the actual meeting, we don't have to approve it in the public hearing.
Right.
Okay.
So we'll go back out and then we need to come back in.
Okay. Sounds
So,
good.
right. If you guys have any questions, bring it.
I got a question.
Yeah.
So the property and other local taxes and real estate tax. So for the 2023 and the new auditor sent out the tax, right? So it went from 347,120 to 1,500,000.
But that's only the increase on the inside millage. We don't get that on the 0.46. The increase. You have to redo that at the current rate. So we're only getting that new millage on the inside millage. Does that make sense? So on the levy we have, the 0.46, we're still getting the old rate, what it brings in. Not until I think in 26, that comes up for renewal. So if we renew it as a replacement, then it'll be at the new rate. We'll receive the
More.
right.
Okay.
And I did not put that as an increase in here because I'm not sure what we're going to be doing. So it could be more. If we put the 0.46 on as a replacement, then this number would go up a little bit.
So how
Good
much
question. No, that's a good question.
How much of 10 mils do we?
The inside,
Yeah.
we get them all. We get all the.
Yeah, all the inside.
We did that a long time ago. We didn't. This is years ago because we didn't know that we could just get that. And we're like, it's like Christmas. I'll just save you guys all from more taxes.
So it's all.
Yes, yes, yeah. And then some of these funds, it's a wash, like the street lighting. We have street lights. We get that assessed, that comes, it's a wash. Motor vehicle permits of the gas, that could be used for maintenance salaries and stuff for the roads. That's what we use for that. The cemetery kind of just hangs in there. And the good news is last year we didn't transfer 50,000, and this year we might not have to. And that helps the general fund if we don't have to transfer money into the cemetery. It's not looking like we will have to this year. The TIF fund is in there at the very end. Yes,
TIF fund currently, it says 2024, is that the balance?
yeah, you go at the very end of go to the next page. The 13, at the end of 24, we're looking at a balance of 13.3. Look at page 14. Do you see that? And the reason it drops is because there's a lot of projects out there that is budgeted. Where you see the difference from 24 to 25. And then it starts growing again, but that's the park and the west, the different projects that are budgeted.
Okay, that's why it drops.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Now, the interest on that money, where does that go?
General fund. Well, not all of it. About 80% goes in general fund, and then we have to put some in the motor vehicle, the gas fund, and permissive.
So if you take $13 million and it's in account, can that be in one single account, be insured?
Say that again?
You have that kind of money in account, is that insured somehow? If not, happens to the economy, like you go to your local bank and they insure you $250,000.
Oh, yeah,
How did they do that large amount of money?
we have there's an agreement, and they have, you might answer that. I mean,
Most of the banks that we would bank with would have, an agreement with the state to cover those funds. So, while the federal deposit insurance company only covers like 250, the other banks can reach. There's a term for it, I don't know the name, but they can insure the deposit above that.
the auditor very big. There are certain things that a long time since they federal, we couldn't use since they federal for years because they weren't regulated for a government in that case. There's a lot of things that a government could not go to.
So some of the things that we can do, there's a fund that's run by the state auditor called Star Funds. Right now, we're making about the same in the account that's in the.
It is, I look at it all the time. It's actually, the township makes a little bit more than the Star Fund right now, keeping it in LCNB.
Then there are other investment options with some additional training for the fiscal officer, so you can invest, put an actual
Bonds,
investment
all
firm.
that. I bet, there was a couple years ago, we met with, since they federal, it's about bonds. And it just scares me that you're dealing with stock. And I finally just, you're playing,
Well, I didn't think you were allowed to do any money in the bank towards stocks like in the township.
what
Are you
you,
allowed to invest in stock?
yeah, absolutely, yes, you can.
I didn't think they allowed that.
Yeah, we do it all the time.
Hopefully, right.
Well, I can tell you from personal experience that, for a while, there's a company out there called Red Tree Financial that Whitewater Township uses. The only way we made any money was through our Red Tree funds. And then as the economy split, we started making better money on the star funds than what Red Tree was making, and that's the advantage of having liquidity. And here I am talking about investment when Tim should probably be getting your class. But there are options out there, and we look at them all the time to make sure we're getting the best bang for our buck.
Any other questions for Ms. Sullivan?
Mr. Walrath? Yes. Mr. Bland?
Yes. That's for budget.
5 years. It's 5 years.
All right, so now we'll go into our regular session for Miami Township Board of Trustees meeting in July. And roll call, please.
Mr. Walrath?
Here.
Mr. Bland?
Here. And can we get a motion for the acceptance of the minutes for June 19th, 2024, for the regular meeting of the Board of Trustees? And we'll take a motion. I will second.
Mr. Walrath?
Yeah.
Mr. Bland?
Also a motion for the acceptance of the minutes of special meeting July 9th, 2024, the Board of Trustees. Make a motion for the acceptance of the minutes of the special meeting on July 9th. I will second.
Mr. Walrath?
Yes.
Mr. Bland?
Yes. Also a motion for the acceptance of the invoices. Make a motion for the acceptance of the invoices for July. Second.
Mr. Walrath?
Yeah.
Mr. Bland?
Yes. All right. LT, you're just in time. You shut up. Wait till you keep walking, right?
Hello, everybody.
Lieutenant Dan Gilroy, District 1 Commander. Miami Township Stats for June. In June, we had a total of 290 runs. 250 of those were dispatched, and 40 of those were self-initiated or not billable. As far as service exchange, there were 78 times that Miami Township cars were requested outside of Miami Township. 58 of those they did complete, 20 of those were disregarded before they left the township. The same month, 137 times county cars from outside Miami Township were requested into for assistance. 55 times they were sent, 82 times they were disregarded. There were 15 criminal reports taken and 7 non-criminal reports, as well as 6 auto accidents. There was one fatal, about close. Believed to be a medical condition. Question?
Do you have anything? I have questions. Do you have any questions? All right. Speed trailer got put on this next one. Mr. Brett was telling me about that. All right, do we, not citation wise though, did we have any warnings or anything like that? Just about people coming down that hill? Well, or did the speed trailer take care of it for temporarily?
You mean how many tickets have we written on for that?
Yeah.
Or what the trailer's there for? Because the trailer not necessarily tell you if there's how many citations. I can look how many citations were written.
I was just curious if not only citations, they give warnings to the chart. I would think people would slow down. I was just asking you in general, does that happen?
It's hard to tell. I need to look at the stats. Generally for the speed trailer, like I said, it doesn't automatically tickets or anything. In fact, that one doesn't save data, and that's a different package you would have to pay for to check speed to see if they've checked the use of the sign and all that. The poll actually to see if we had a lot of warnings and or tickets in that area. They have to report it. we'll try to get this pretty nice.
But I'm just wondering where they would sit. That's what I'm thinking of that. It's on the curve, right? Down the hill.
It's actually towards the bottom of the hill, and Steve Bitter, the homeowner association president up there, asked if I could ask them to move it up the hill a little bit.
Does it slow down?
And he's thinking they're already finally slowing down when they get close to the end there. I can tell you from our work up there with the drill shaft wall, Mr. Bittler was correct when he said he would like to have that, because I thought with the construction there, the people would slow down. And I guess a couple did, but most didn't. So,
How long does it stay?
They typically stay a month, I believe, but it can be extended. It just as a homeowner requested it, if it can be requested to go again to the extent.
I think we need to do maybe put dogs on this.
And generally, anything with the big hill is. I mean, so you want the whole trapper on the whole traffic going?
Well, Shingle's right there. Shingle's the first road, so before it's coming down is when it is.
Coming down, around Shingle?
Down, pretty much. What is it? Then, Metro Park, have you been through there lately?
I was on vacation earlier this month, so I was probably there a few times in June. Yeah, I can tell you there no. So that's a good question. So Mitchell Park obviously comes up every once in a while. When are the complaints time like? Because I can tell you, I personally there during the day, and I don't see when I have sat there. Is
I
it
think
more
it's
night
generally in the
early morning? Right.
So it becomes part of the school. That's your phrases about. And then the hill, the back of the Indian Walk. We had people complain about that one, so.
Same time, they basically going to work, coming back.
Yeah. Minivans. Those are,
Yeah, so I know they do.
that's their words.
I know.
That was their words.
Yes, I know they come around that curve and they got it, they just do the same thing.
Yeah.
It's just one of those things.
That's all I have. Yeah. All right, thank you, LT.
Thank you.
Oh, I will say one thing. Great job with the, I had a resident call back, which you guys would snag a turkey after a gallon.
Yeah, they're always up there, morning was that?
A few weeks ago, I
Yeah.
made a phone call after start. Great job. Getting it back. It was quick.
A lot of times it matters, you know, can't be everywhere at once, but if we can get any kind of help hints, we get officers in anywhere pretty quick.
It really is very appreciative.
Right.
Thank you.
Our, fire department chief, Schuman.
I realized I'm not moving, but.
That's Human Fire Chief. Last month we did 182 total incidents. 49 fire prevention activities, conducted 188 hours of training. Medic staffing has been slowly increasing. Which is a good thing. We posted our part-time flyer for hiring. We have 13 applications, but it's been less than a week. So. Soon. June was a really busy month for us, both fire and events wise. Did a lot of community events with We Thrive, Safety Day at Miami Port, North Bend Church, Crossroads, and then coming up this weekend we'll be at the Addison Music Festival, Crossroads on Saturday. That's what it is. a bit for June. Any questions?
How many full-time do we have in that?
25.
We're short. And part-timers?
16. Okay, then.
Are we scheduled for fireworks for Christmas? Did you just talk about that?
It's right. August, right, yeah, yeah. Scott's been working with him.
Okay. All right, are we gonna have any personnel there, or is it just
So we haven't,
going over safety stuff?
we've talked about it, so we haven't had an official request from the crossroads yet. I know they've done it in the past, they put an ambulance down there, but staffing and waiting for this for time. We haven't had an official request yet, but if they do, then the plan is to do that.
Anything for the board? All right, anything else from the public, from the chief? All right, chief, thank you. All right, senior center, Mrs. Herbert.
Activities for June. June 7th, I've never really talked about this before, but every month, first Friday at 9 o'clock, we have investment club. And Jason Murray, he's the financial advisor for Convergence. And he comes and he talks to the seniors about stocks, investments, savings, anything money. So that's always the first Friday of the month at 9 o'clock. So and the guys come and they have coffee and donuts. So that's every month. June 13th, we had a beach party themed coffee with friends, which was so much fun. Everybody had on their Hawaiian gear, and we had island themed like snacks and drinks. And Charlie runs, he does this every month. He entertained us with some music. It was a lot of fun. And Charlie's in our senior reports too, so love Charlie. Next coffee with friends is August the 20th at 10. If anybody wants to come. I think the theme is show tunes. Okay, so it's a good time. Let's see, June 17th, a large group of seniors went to the lunch outing at the Cabana. June 20th, ran out into the Bank Center to see the Pompeii exhibit. We had lunch there at the June 25th, we've got a program for senior abroad. It's again canceled. Second time. We're trying for months with this program, but unfortunately, that group he had a meeting to get out of. So it's been rescheduled for August 13th at 10 o'clock. So hopefully, fingers crossed, that we will have it. I feel like I've been talking about that program for months now. So August 13th, good program. An important one, I feel. Upcoming events, August 6th, we have a large group of seniors. We're going with Shine Bright Tours to Columbus. It's going to be an all-day outing. We're going to see tours of flag making, flag got candy, metal whistle productions, artisan popcorn, lunch at the famous Foods restaurant, and then a mystery stop on their way home. So it'll be all day out. The last thing, we have our tour scheduled for Branson, October 14th to the 19th, and we have openings left for that. You can talk, yeah, with me. Yeah, look at flyers at the center. If anybody wants to pick up a flyer, or just give me a call. I can answer your question.
All right, anything from the board? All right, anything from the public, Mrs. Herbert? Thank you, thank you. All right, maintenance, Mr. Miller.
How's everybody? Well, there's one thing on the bids that we got.
Yeah. Oh, I heard.
Tennis courts are done, tennis courts look good, and everybody's had a chance to look at them. They had some storm damage at our park, I'm sure everybody knows like that either. About the insurance guy, it sounds like everything can be taken care of. And then, get some complaints on Bond residents. The state about the roads. I marked a bunch of spots today. I recommend Brett, land take a ride down there, they look at the road, I got marked.
Maybe north of Meyer.
I think it needs a lot more work. Roads fall apart. I'd say if we're gonna get that 90 degrees in August, that truck's coming out of there, it's really.
No, this is for, the development. On one, there is a very.
It's on permit days. Church. But like I said, I got a bunch of white marks on the road, but that don't give you what the road actually is.
All right, are you, I think it's new since they started construction.
They just get worse.
Let's get it.
I know we've got some spots that are pumping mud. That we need to take care of, but it's just stretching that road out. It looks like about an inch and a half of a cap on top of it. It's just great.
Well, we've already fixed it.
It's over the last couple of years with that surface. Looks like the surface is inch and a half surface that we put on. Inch surface we put on. Sure, all of it is pulling off of about 8.
They're marked in white.
I marked white for the wood depth that I think needs to.
It's pretty easy to tell.
Talked to the people on Marshall, got a clean update on that. He said it'll be probably a week or two. And then stop out and talk to a couple of gentlemen. They said they were going to, and I'm sure Jim talked to probably the same people. I don't think they're gonna move. And the road contract is supposed to start in.
Any questions, Mr. Miller? Any questions, Mr. Miller, from the public? Yes, sir.
While we're on the discussion of roads, take a ride down Jordan Road.
Amen.
When I leave my house and drive up the hill to Zion, my car drags in 3 different spots if I stay in the lane.
Have you noticed the difference in truck traffic on that road?
I'm really not much to pay attention.
And I didn't work on that, so. You're gonna go see probably. I don't know, I
Yeah,
just wondered because.
Granted, I got a Corvette, but if I leave my house and drive up to Jordan Road, drive up Jordan Road to Zion, and stay in my lane on the road, my car drags the ground, 3 different spots. That's how bad the road is.
That's a county road, but I wouldn't know. I would pass
Yeah,
it.
I mean, if nobody's told, nobody's gonna fix it.
We can see.
I just feel like there's a lot more truck traffic around. Trucks.
So we gotta, before the county does anything, we gotta get that water line.
Well, that'd be real nice. That's my next question. How are we going with this pumping station or water up the street?
We'll get to that.
Okay.
All right, any more questions for Mr. Miller? Next round. All right, safety, Mr. Hughes, not present. Jim, do you want to read this report into the record, or I can?
I will, if you want. So we had one firefighter who was on light duty from shoulder injury a while back, and he is now going to be able to return to normal duty with no restrictions. That's great news. We had a firefighter medic who was slightly injured at an accident scene in Addison. He had a laceration in his right hand that required a few stitches. And a firefighter who was involved in an auto accident on East Miami River Road with a small accident with the one of the squads. Whenever there's an accident involving our people, they are drug tested, and so that came back negative. So good there. We had a small ding on an electric pole with one of the fire engines, just minor damage. That driver of that vehicle was also drug tested and came back fine. Didn't hit the pole enough to do any damage. So this year we've had 2 BWC claims. The department supervisors were all invited to a safety meeting on June 14th. They discussed the claims this year so far, and that's all that he has.
All right, utility rentals, Mr. Herbert.
Good evening. In your report, I devised a new report that I'll give you each month, and it just reflects the actual numbers, the revenue of that month instead of what's deposited in the bank, just so I have it for my own good. So you'll see it starts with like June community rental. We had $10,000, lower level, we had $1,700. As you move across the report, it shows you items like town hall, the centerpieces, patio rental, extra hours, linen rentals versus linen costs. And this just allows me to see the actual numbers that are being generated each month. Bottom of the sheet also shows park rentals, which we've had 4 in June, and to date we've had 8 rentals. And this was a number that I think historically has not been recorded, so I just wanted to start recording it. Quick update on events. June 20th was our first concert. Despite the heat, Jim and I counted, he counted 160 guests, I counted 168, so a high number. The band was fantastic, and we have had a lot of great feedback about the Thursday evening concert. June 28th was our first movie night. There were some IT issues, but despite that, we've still had many, many families that were able to enjoy the evening watching Kung Fu Panda 4. I think there are about 50 people here for that. Exciting upcoming events. August 10th from 10 to 12 will be our second annual Touch a Truck event. And this year we're partnering this with the Fire Open House. So there will be tons of activities for all age ranges. We'll have tow trucks, construction equipment, school bus, police and fire vehicles, air care will be landing, K9 demonstration. That's just on the community center side. On the fire side, of course, the kids will get to explore all the equipment over there, talk to firefighters, which we know they all love. They have many activities planned, including a chili cook-off, hopefully bounce house for the kids and more. It's a work in progress, but it's going to be a great event up here. So we're just encouraging you to bring out your family. And I just want to thank the sheriff's office. He has been fantastic. I mean, getting us the K9 demonstration, so much equipment. So it's going to be a really good event. So that's all. Oh, and I was very excited, forgot to say this. The Reds Rover will be here for the Touch a Truck event. So the Reds have agreed to come out. They said they're going to hand out goodies, and if a mascot is available, they will send it, but no guarantees on that. So, yes.
Only question I've got. I guess, is there?
Yes, long-term contracts. So I have dance and Boy Scouts wanting to do long-term rentals. Jim and I have talked about this, and we're in the progress. I told what's her name that always my mind is totally blank. The girl that I deal with all the time. I emailed her that Jim and I were. So I think it maybe is moving a little bit slower than they would like, but it is a work in progress. Definitely. Thanks for asking.
All right, any questions for Mrs. Rivers? All right, thank you. All right, for Mr. Clark, do you have anything generally for?
No.
IT, Mr. Taylor?
He sent us an email that he couldn't be here this evening, but in his report to us, and something I wanted to let everybody know. He worked with iPanda to get our new website up, and it actually went live yesterday afternoon. And we kind of did a soft opening so we could look at it, and we made a few corrections. Kim was very helpful in going through the things and sending it to, and I have trouble with her name, Ilona at iPanda. And she's corrected those already, so we have some things we still want to add, and we can add and subtract things to that website. As we move, it's going to be a lot easier to update and things than the old one. We do have a community calendar under news and events. We'll try to keep that as updated as much as we can. So aside from the opening page that has current happenings on it, you can go to the news and events and look ahead. So I'm excited about that. we've moved from cable to Hulu for television at the firehouses. That's just more a problem with the cable service. He's still working with UAN to get our server configured so that, fire department and myself will have access to the UAN program. That's our accounting program that Cindy uses. And, that's, all I got.
Could we get some sort of time frame that you and server, we get something?
That could, in my opinion, could have happened by now. It's just a matter of him taking the time to.
All right. All right, that's it for department heads. I'll go back to administrators report. Mr. Brett.
Good evening, everyone. I'll hit the questions that I know the two gentlemen in the back have. And, so on the bulk water fill station, I'd like to, since Mr. Burkholz is here, Mayor Burkholz, like to thank their part-time or interim administrator, Rob Merkel. Rob and I signed the lease with the village, and so it's executed. Rob is helping me dig up some other information that I'll need for the EPA permits. And Chuck, so you know, Rob was great to work with, and I think you've got a really great guy there.
Absolutely.
So please do. So that's underway. The Jordan Road water line extension. We have later on your agenda the master services agreement for JS Health. But even though we haven't signed that, we've been working on the Jordan Road water line. We're currently asking for proposals from design engineers for this project. Just so everybody knows, once we receive those proposals from the engineering companies, we will be working with these waterworks and Eric down there because this is going to be their system. We certainly don't want to pick somebody that Eric doesn't want to work with. So we'll be looking for the lowest and best proposal. And that'll be for the design. We still feel like we can get this designed and in before the end of the year. I guess that'll, assuming we have a normal winter. About the road, because you asked about that. I've talked with Fred Schlimm at the county engineer's office about doing some of this project together, because there's some areas that we think while we're there and working, that they may want to do some additional work that we might be able to work into our contract and save everybody some money. So we're going to work with them to make sure that we spend everybody's money as best we can and try to get some of that road upgraded, because you're right, it's getting worse every day. So
if this, the contract with JSL, are we not getting engineers going? Or?
They're already working on that. This is just outlining what they can do for us. And then the master services agreement is just outlining what they're available to do. And then we will only use them on an individual basis on an as needed. So they wanted us to sign the master services agreement before we signed anything on Jordan Road, but that's going to be inexpensive enough that I can sign that without having to have it approved at the meeting.
We're working on that right now.
Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, it's actually out to, I think, 4 different engineering companies to ask them for proposals right now. So, and all good people. I don't think Eric would have a problem with any of them, but you know, it is their baby, and we're going to pick somebody that he wants to work with. So,
and you've touched base with Fred Slim and upgrades and saying.
Yeah. Yeah, he wasn't sure that they could do it if we did it this year, but he's not going to miss the opportunity to work with him. Fred's a great guy. So, I think you probably heard this earlier, Whispering Farms drill shaft wall is complete. Restoration work was done. I honestly feel like the restoration work on this project was a lot better than the last. And we actually received an email from Steve Bittner, the president of the Homeowners Association up there, saying that and thanking us for the way it was handled. They did a great job of keeping traffic open. I thought that people would slow down during construction up there, and I told someone, some people probably did, one or two, but his request for that speed trailer to kind of wake his residents up was well justified in my opinion. So I'd like to thank the sheriff's department for getting that up there for us. Ronnie mentioned the tennis court resurfacing. That project turned out great. They were a great company to work with. He mentioned the wind damage at the park. We had a straight line wind event apparently. And it actually, on the main ball field, it blew the outfield fence down. It's leaning against the trees behind it. So we have Mills Fence getting us a price on that. They're the ones who installed it. Ronnie's getting a couple others. I don't remember how many trees got snapped off, but a lot of those trees got snapped off 5 foot high. So, you know, with a strong wind, when it's snapping 4 and 6 inch trees up that high. The insurance company was great. The adjuster's been out. He's going to work with us. We told him we're not even sure that we found all the garbage cans. The guys had to collect garbage all morning on that Friday morning after that. So I don't even think we found all the cans yet. The design and permitting while we're in the park, the new parking lot addition at West Park. On your agenda later tonight is approval for me to advertise that. Talked with Mark Rosenberger a couple times from Bear Becker. They're hoping to have final designs. It's into building department with village please. Everything else is being worked on with the school district, and hopefully we can have that out to bid and maybe in before football season. Have some additional parking for that and for soccer this fall. And since we're on schools, Dr. Alt and I met yesterday regarding the parking lot and some other things that we have going on. He wanted to express his thanks for the opportunity to attend the Parks Committee meeting. He said it was great to hear firsthand what was going to go on with the addition down there, and it's going to be a great addition. We discussed, we've kicked around for a while now the possibility of a shared use space with them, and but the school district and the township are now using JS Health, and JS Health is going to put together a proposal for us to do some preliminary work. It'll be an inexpensive first look at that. So, and we think there's some grant money out there that'll help pay for that. I mentioned our website is up and running. I think the new design looks great, but go check it out for yourself, see what you think. The folks that build it that I handed are very responsive. Anything we can add, subtract, change, we can do that very easily. We have 2 ambassador meetings that are scheduled upcoming, and the focus on those is going to be the funding for the fire and the police levies. And those are scheduled for Wednesday, August 7th at 6 p.m. and Saturday, September 28th at 10 a.m. So those will be just open to the public meetings. As I say, the main focus will be that, and then the homeowners associations that attend that usually like to stay and have a breakout session after we do township related stuff. So we certainly want them to come and share ideas with each other and talk about what they can do to help each other. Cindy mentioned this earlier. As we've talked to people about the upcoming levies, we've had a lot of people who have just expressed an interest, but they don't understand how the township is funded. So we decided that we would have, we picked 4 dates, and we're just going to be available if somebody wants to stop in. You don't need an appointment. Stop in, have a cup of coffee or a bottle of water, I guess, depending on how hot it is out. And just talk with Cindy and I about how the township funding works, where the money comes from, what we can spend out of what fund for what purpose. And those dates are Tuesday, September 10th between 9 and 11 a.m. Wednesday, September 18th between 3 and 5 p.m. Thursday, October 8th, 9 to 11 a.m. and Wednesday, October 16th, 3 to 5. And you may have noticed those Wednesdays are right before our normal monthly meeting. So we thought if someone wants to come to the meeting, they would come a little earlier. But as she said earlier, anybody, anytime that would like to sit and talk with us, we would be more than glad to go over how the funding works and what money can be used for what. And it's always interesting because government funding is different than in the real world. So while we may have a big bunch of money sitting in the road and bridge fund, and I don't know that we do, but when you consider it now costs $1 million to repave a mile of road, what seems like a big bunch of money isn't really a big bunch of money. But that road and bridge fund money can only be used for the maintenance and restoration of roads and bridges in the township. So we can't come out here and redo the parking lot for the community center with road money because it's blacktop. So it's got to be used for a specific purpose, and we're glad to go over that with you. Ronnie mentioned a couple of the quotes that we had in. We talked about the possibility of putting a parking lot in temporarily up here at the corner. And so he got West Side Paving to come out and give us a guesstimate on that. And their estimate for about 19 spaces from is $44,600. There's one plan floating around in that roundabout set that had turn lane instead of a roundabout that had a parking lot involved in that. So that's a good number to have. We talked about the trailer that is going to replace an older trailer with the maintenance part. That's on your agenda for later. Everyone verbally gave me the okay on an inlet rebuild for Cottridge. Sorry, Ron, I'm having trouble reading without my glasses. Chocolate Court, $8,670. That's kind of an emergency basis. So I got a verbal from all three of the trustees on that. We went ahead and scheduled that work. But tennis courts, I think that's that covers all the expenditures there. So any questions?
Not for me. Any from the public, Mr. Brett?
Yeah. You say you finally got the contract for the water. Is that for the bulk water?
Yes. Yeah,
And
that's
it
the
took this long to get that?
Yeah.
You said you were getting it back when we were down in Cleve's meeting,
correct.
and it took that long to get that ironed out.
There were some issues that had to be ironed out, and those have been, the village worked with us on that, and we're set.
So where's it going now?
At the maintenance facility on the police property.
Because I'm being told by them it ain't going there. That Cleve's don't own it. That
Actually, that was what you heard last time, and that is absolutely incorrect. The village of Cleves owns the waterworks. Every piece of their property is listed on the auditor site as owned by Cleves, and there's a reason for that. If we ever decided that we would sell the waterworks, which we have the right to do, we would liquidate all of their assets. So their money paid for it, but it is listed in the village of Cleves. So I think if you remember correctly, I gave you my card at the last meeting, and I told you we worked this thing through, and that has happened.
Okay. Just the other day I was talking to them. They said,
Who are you talking to?
well,
You're not talking to anybody with any official authority. I can pretty well guarantee that. Because they don't have the information. So if you're talking to one of our maintenance workers, unless you're talking to John Knupp, they don't know what's going on.
Mr. Burkroft, do you mind talking to him after this? We can move along. Do you mind talking to Mr. Rhodes afterwards?
Oh, no,
Move
I'm
along
fine.
with the meeting, please. All right. No questions? You want to go to old business? Get the public at the end.
So, yeah, so under old business, Last month, we had the folks from Verkada in to talk about their camera and door lock systems. We've done a lot of research and, talked with, basically I narrowed it down to 3 companies. WCC TV, was probably my second choice. The company that does the, cameras for the sheriff's department and, called Clock Systems. While they do a great job of license plate readers and things, they don't have the ability to do the inside cameras as we would need them. We have the option of getting some of those license plate reader cameras and putting those alongside the road. I don't know how many the sheriff's office actually owns throughout the county. The number is
Quite a bit.
yeah, but, so we can explore that as we move forward with the sheriff's contract and things, but, because we've been having so much trouble with our door lock system, I would like the authorization tonight to go ahead and negotiate the final price on door locks and cameras, and then the installation is separate because that's through a separate company from Verkada. It was an expensive amount for that whole proposal. It was over $100,000, right at $100,000. But every time we have the current supplier come out and work on a camera, it's $2,000 to $3,000, and we have a lot of failing cameras, and so I want to get the best deal we can out of them. So I don't want to commit to what they offered. I want to make sure we get the cameras that we need and the placement. But if I can have your approval to negotiate that and get that going, I'd like to do that. So, and the one thing Mr. Bowler had asked earlier, the cameras that we have here, well, probably a third of them don't work well. A couple of them don't work at all. But we will take the ones that do work here, we'll repurpose those into the other buildings that we have right now and see how this Verkada system goes. And if that goes well, and we decide it's the right system to do our other buildings with, then we'll look at that next year.
You got any questions?
Yeah, I'll make a motion that for Township Administrator to negotiate the pricing for cameras and door lock systems.
I'll second that.
Mr. Ballard,
Yes.
Mr. Bland,
Yes.
So, and next on old business is the approval of the master services agreement with JS Health. Again, this just outlines what they can do for us. It doesn't commit us to use them on anything. One of the things that I like about the setup with them is, let's say, for instance, where we have them go out and find the folks to engineer Jordan Road's water line. And for some reason, we decide we want to pull the plug on that project. We just tell them we're stopping and there's no other bill. They only bill us for what they do. They don't bill us for anything. They don't do anything without our approval. And so we won't have all our employees calling them. They'll work through me. So there won't be any, 2 or 3 people calling and getting double billed for somebody telling them the same thing. And they have a very good reputation, Delhi Green, Corin. So they've worked for all them.
Are there any questions from the board?
Yeah, I'll make a motion to approve the master services agreement. Yes.
All right, I will second that.
Mr. Ballard,
Yes.
Mr. Bland,
Yes.
We flip over to new business. So under new business, we're down to the only thing left on tonight's agenda is the purchase of the equipment trailer. Oh, you're right. Yeah, let me flip to the other page of new business. You're correct. So let's, we'll start with the purchase of the equipment trailer. As recommended by Mr. Miller.
All right, any questions from the board?
Yeah, this is just, it's sort of like the one that's.
Yeah, this was budgeted probably 3 years ago, so.
All right, I'll make a
I'll second it.
Is it 8350 or?
8350.
Yeah.
Did you second?
Yes, second,
Mr. Volrath?
Yes.
Mr. Bland?
yes.
So,
So when we sell that, let's look at, since we're not trading it in there, things like this, we'll just look at the county.
county or gov deals, if we sell it through gov deals, they take all the responsibility for it. The trailer, as Mr. Miller explained it to me, basically has holes in the floor. So we need to sell with no liability, no guarantees, no warranty.
That's what the county does.
Okay.
We'll do the same. We'll talk about it.
So next, is, approval for me to advertise the, new parking lot at West Park. When Fairbanker completes the plans, and we're hoping to have that done before the next meeting. We'd like to get that out as soon as that's available, so you can authorize me to advertise that.
I'll make a motion, we go ahead and approve the administrator to advertise the bid for the parking lot West Park. Second.
Mr. Volrath? Mr. Bland?
Yes,
And last but not least, is the fiscal officer's 2025 tax budget. We need to approve that officially.
I'll make a motion for the approval of the tax budget.
I will second.
All right. Mr. Volrath? Yes. Mr. Bland?
Yes.
Now I'm through the list. I apologize.
No, it's okay.
Brett's trying to hurry things up.
All right, public comments, if you want to address the board, just come on up, say your name and your question. Now's the time. All right, Mr. Volrath? All right, Ms. Ocher?
Yeah, I just want
Anything
to,
more?
I just have one thing. Sissy, thank you for everything with police and fire. It has been a nightmare for a few months. So it's all coding and all that, so I just want, it's been a lot of work.
I just hope it works.
Well, I sent in a June report yesterday, and there was no errors on their end, so we'll see. I emailed Tom today, but haven't heard back on that report, so we'll see. That's all I have.
You got anything else before I go?
Yes, sir.
All right, I've just got one thing. Hamilton County Recycling Resource, they sent us an email about the Resident Recycling Initiative Incentive Program, it's RRI, that gets in Miami Township. Miami Township diverted 368 tons of recycled material, achieved 7.32% conversion rate for 2023. And we got back from Hamilton County $5,938.65 for our recycling efforts of our residents. So if you don't recycle, we would love to recycle. I recycle. I think it's like $4 or $5 a month. Is that right?
They bill you for the whole year,
What is it?
48 for the whole year.
48. So it's relatively cheap, and it keeps a lot of plastic out of the landfill. So if you consider that, we would appreciate it. And that's all I have. Anything else from the public? All right, let's do it again. We'll make a motion here, and I will second.
Mr. Volrath?
Yes.
Mr. Bland?
Yes. Thanks for coming over.
Okay. You guys got a couple minutes on each stand.
We've got to do something.